Hello, I'm LuNEJuNE, and in today's video, I'm going to be live commentating over a pre-recorded gameplay. And yes, I am back. I cannot appreciate more. Thank you so much for the 10k subs, first of all. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to live commentate, as I said, but it's going to be on limit break. Now, I decided to make this video because I honestly had a lot of fun with this game mode, and I'm going to be playing AtomQuake or AtomQuake, AtomQuake, whatever. So basically, with the new buffed summoner, you can basically just get to infinite waves. As long as you get hit by magicians and leons, this thing I have lost 0 times. Actually, I lost like a couple of them, surrender, preemptively and stuff. But I haven't lost because I lost, And I'm going to basically be going over the things that I actually do in this gameplay. So first of all, you guys can see that my SP to spawn is 90. Like, it's 90. And look at all my pips. I have 10 earthquakes, I have 11 atomics, and 6 mimics and stuff. But it only costs 90 to spawn a new dice. This is all thanks to Summoner, and you want to constantly merge Summoners to get the most amount of dice. And basically, what you're supposed to do is, a lot of people might actually just constantly merge like random stuff, like earthquakes when it's not necessary, or like atomics that are out of place to constantly get the summoner value. But I highly recommend not doing that, because if you constantly merge summoner, your SP to spawn is going to remain the same, which is good. However, the problem will be that you would get too much high pips, and later on you wouldn't be able to merge. So like what I'm doing right now, I'm doing absolutely nothing. It's because I don't really need to do anything. And also I just maxed out my earthquake. Max out your atomic first, not your earthquake. Earthquake matters later on, not currently. Basically, I'm doing nothing because, as I said, I don't really need it. I don't need to constantly merge summoners to get a lot of atomics, earthquakes and stuff. Again, if you constantly merge summoners, your pips are going to get extremely high and you won't be able to merge, and you might get board locked, and that's bad. My opponent has recharge, random growth, and scope, so I already know that that's not gonna last long. And the reason I'm going to be showing you 3 gameplays, including this one. The other 2 would be against Flow. I thought a lot of you guys might question about Flow's win rate. Currently, I only met like 5 Flow opponents throughout my 3 accounts. However, I lost 0. Like, once again, I currently have 100% win rate on this stick, minus the few games where I actually left the game and stuff, or purposely surrendered initially. But yeah, against Flow, it's also pretty good because you can just constantly activate Earthquake's passive or the merge. And also, I also have another recording or another gameplay for Hell as well, and I hope that can help, because currently there's a lot of Hellfoon, random growth, scope variants, and honestly, this deck counters it. Like, who cares? If they send a gazillion mobs to your side, you could just kill them instantly with like 1 merge. Again, right now, I have a bunch of 1 pips ready to go, and what I recommend doing is not looking at everything else. Look at those small mobs. Yeah, right there. You have to make sure the small mob doesn't get past the second 90-degree corner on the lane. And also for bosses, it's kind of sad that you have to always take a hit from a boss. For example, Magician's going to use an ability, if you don't have a high pip atomic. Leon's also going to use an ability and stuff. Knight is also going to use an ability. But again, once again, you barely use any SP to spawn a dice, so it's actually pretty safe. And also, I recommend having at least a 4 pip at the end corner. I currently have a 3 pip, but around there I recommend having a 4 pip, or like somewhere on the top side of the board, because it's again to stop the small mobs from getting through. I'm pretty sure this game lasted around wave 7 or something, because my opponent just couldn't survive. Once again, recharge without Lunar is kind of bad, I'll much rather just use combo. Anyway, and as I said, again, I'm just like pretty much not doing anything. Remember, you could merge constantly. You don't need to spawn a dice unless you have to. And also, if you need more dice to spawn, you can just always spawn like once or twice, and then if you get summoner, you can merge that and get the rest, like what I'm doing here. Unfortunately, I didn't get any, but luckily on the last spot, on the last spawn, I got Joker and I was able to get more dice. That's basically how you're supposed to play. There's a few bosses that you need to be careful with. The reason why I'm saying this is because the opponent is recharged and it's pretty chill at the moment. Silencer. Silencer is pretty tough. First of all, Silencer, if you leave it alive for too long, you will die. So my recommendation is, if you have a good atomic setup, basically as soon as you think Silencer will use an ability, merge like a 1-pip atomic. Or if you don't have an atomic ready, I suggest pretty much clearing out your whole board, like the 8 spaces in the middle, and after Silencer uses like once or twice the Silencer's ability, that's when you spawn. Because if there's no dice, the Silencer will not use an ability. Here we go. Actually, I'm gonna merge a 1-pip. There you go. So I kinda used the ability a little bit too early, so I had to use it again. But usually what you would do is you would have an atomic on the 5-pip where the 5-pip earthquake is currently at, and you would kill the boss much quicker. Now, night boss is a little bit tough because your whole setup is going to get ruined. However, my setup right now is not the best, if I'm being honest. Like 2 5-pips in the corners, however they're not atomics, so I would actually want to get hit by night. And also make sure to have an eye on the small mob all the time. If you need it, you can start activating your atomics right after the small mob hits the first 90-degree corner if you don't have enough atomics like I do. I just kind of pray for good atomic setups. If you don't get a good atomic setup, you will lose. I'll have to say this. This is like the part where RNG really hits you. However, a tip that I can give you guys is, when night is about to spawn, just constantly merge at least one earthquake. I know it's not going to deal a lot of damage, the earthquake, because you don't have any damage dealing dice initially. However, the slow really will help out your case, because with the slow, you could control if the night flips multiple times or just a limited amount of times. I hope that makes sense. So normal night will flip 3 times before it dies on a normal wave. However, if you slow it down, you can actually get more flips out of it. That's what I was trying to explain. My atomic setup is currently perfect. Like, look at the small mob. The small mob has no chance. It's going all the way low, so I can just merge one atomic or one earthquake and the dice is gone, or the mob is gone. And now on to the next. I actually recorded this a little bit late. However, this is against flow. It's pretty much the same. Like, early on, you just merge summoners constantly. Also, make sure to wait for a 3rd summoner, or like make sure to wait for a mimic to spawn, so that you always have at least 1 summoner. Also, another tip, make sure that there's at least 2 spaces available before merging a summoner, so that you could get the maximum value. So in this case, I want to merge the summoner, so I just kind of immediately just merge random stuff. I'm pretty sure I merged the atomic, maybe, because the atomics are kind of useless. There you go. Also, at round 1, you would want to have a small atomic setup at the front. That's what I'm trying to do right now. Again, I'm trying my best to not waste my summoners, so if I merge one summoner, I try to get the most out of the summoner before I actually merge it. And here, I don't really have a good atomic setup. In fact, I don't even have atomic at all. However, it's round 1, so it doesn't really matter. I just kind of kill it. And right now, again, really, flow and hell really isn't a big deal. I almost, died there because I didn't pay attention. But as long as you constantly have earthquakes and as long as you have eyes, it's pretty easy to kind of survive, right? It's not like your atomic all of a sudden just stops working because the enemy has flow and hell, It's atomic still deals equal amount of damage to everything around it, so yeah. Now this is the time that I actually need to start making my plans for an atomic setup, because I only have a 3-pip and that's not enough. This is actually a perfect Leon spawn because I have a 6 pip and that was lowered to a 5 pip. But then I still have to use another. Oh, okay, that was relatively close. Wow. And I think that's how the game ends. The game ends with my opponent dying by Basilisk because, you know, Typhoon's damage isn't enough. And I also get a 6 pip at the end, so that's also nice. And again, I tried to remove the potential 5 pip because, well, you know, I don't want a lot of high pips on my board. And for this game is actually the shortest game because it's probably because it lasted. I also started at wave 3 because I also needed footage for Hellfoon, not Hellfoon, but like, yeah, Hellfoon, yeah. Hellfoon. So this is the only footage I have for Hellfoon. But then again, once again, the other footage or the other game, I showed how I countered Hellfoon flow. It's going to be so much more easier to counter normal Hellfoon without flow. I think that's why I only kept this as like a small footage, like an example footage. And once again, you do need like a little bit of atomics at the end, or else, you know, you kind of die. And also the small mob almost went through. Again, I was like, mainly, I honestly thought nothing would have gone past because it was only wave 4. But then, you know, I had to realize that I only had a 2 pip on the most left tile of the board, so that kind of was the problem, I guess. Anyway, I think I can end off the video here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Once again, I will make a face review video for the 10k sub special. Stay tuned for that. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.